Good day, great evening, life science students. We are still together. Metric Hub is there for you. Don't forget that it is covering grade 8 to grade 12 as well as post-metric. So don't be anxious and so forth. Just know that with Metric Hub, our education and academic journey has been simplified. Your one-stop channel for all your academic success, where there is no repeat. Education is quite simplified, is brought to our doorsteps. So without wasting any time today, we wanna talk about human gaseous exchange. So I'm gonna quickly want to show you what is it that we are going to discuss about human gaseous exchange, the location of human gaseous system, human gaseous exchange system. We talk about the structure of the human gaseous exchange system, that we are going to look at the gaseous exchange system through the alveoli, and also the general structure in terms of the organs and parts involved. So we are going to discuss that. Just be patient and follow. We're going to talk about the functions of all the parts that we have talked about, that I've shown you there. What's the function of the trachea? What's the function of the alveoli, the lungs, the capillaries, and then the structural suitability, the structural suitability of stability of gaseous exchange system. How is the gaseous exchange system structurally suited to perform its function? Talking about the various structures that are there, and then we look at the nostrils, look at the trachea. How's the trachea adapted to perform the function that it must serve? All those we are going to discuss them in this presentation today. Just be patient with the presentation, and I'm sure that you are going to be quite empowered. And then lastly, we're going to look at all these, defining the throat and the lungs. How is the throat and the lungs suited to perform their function, as well ribs and muscles involved in breathing, their functions, and how are they facilitating and ensuring that these functions are met. So without wasting any time, let's just talk about the gaseous, the human gaseous exchange system. So the location of the human gaseous exchange system, one thing that we need to understand is that the human gaseous exchange ventilation system, it can also be called ventilation system, begins from the nose. It begins from the nose, where we are talking about gases entering and exiting. We are talking about gases entering and also exiting the body, exiting the body as well. So what I want us to look at is that from exiting the head, as exiting also in the head and moves down the windpipe, which we say the trachea, and is located in the neck. I'm sure that we know that the trachea is located on the neck. I mean, and then it extends into the bronchi and the lungs within the within the thoracic cavity, which we are saying that it is within the chest. In other words, the chest cavity. So the diaphragm is the gaseous exchange muscle. The diaphragm class, it is in the gaseous exchange muscle that separates the chest cavity from the abdominal cavity. So I'm sure that we are going to enjoy this presentation anyway. So as we can see, what we need to look at here again is that we look at the structure of the human gaseous exchange system, the structure. So the human gaseous exchange system uh, is responsible for taking in oxygen. It is actually responsible for taking in oxygen is taken in class. Oxygen is taken in oxygen is taken in and releasing carbon dioxide, which we are to understand that carbon dioxide is what is given out, and oxygen it comes in. Oxygen comes in, carbon dioxide goes out, which consists of the lungs and air passages. So the gaseous exchange, it consists of what? It consists of the lungs and also air passages that we are going to look at. Air enters through the nasal cavity. I'm sure that we know that air, the air, we are talking about the oxygen. It enters through the nasal cavity or the mouth also. The mouth is also another entry point for air traveling down through the trachea, which we call the windpipe. It is there also to allow air to enter through, which splits into the bronchi, one for each lung. Each lung has got that. So these bronchs, they further divide into smaller tubes called the bronchioles, which terminate in tiny air sacs called the alveoli. So now, as you look here, what we are saying is that air enters the human gaseous exchange system. It is actually responsible for taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. So therefore, the lungs are also there, which also has got the air passages, which again, we need to understand that they are the bronchi, which are divided into small bronchioles, and then they enter and or terminate as tiny air sacs called the alveoles. So now, the gaseous exchange occur in the alveoli. It occurs in this is the location. It occurs in the alveoli where oxygen moves into the blood. Oxygen moves into the blood glass. Oxygen moves into the blood and carbon dioxide moves out. Oxygen moves into the blood and carbon dioxide outside. So now oxygen moves into the blood and then carbon dioxide moves out. I'm sure that we still remember that respiration, like we said, we said that it's a fundamental of a metabolic process that sustains life. So therefore, oxygen must always be readily available for the processes of life to take place, for respiration to occur. So I just brought this diagram. So therefore, sometimes it is given and then we are supposed to label that. So we have got one, the nasal cavity. We have got the nasal cavity, which is given there. We have the nasal cavity as one, and then it is given there, which we say that it air enters in, and then we have got the nostril. Uh, the nostrils, obviously, we are talking about the opening, and then the oral cavity, we are talking about the mouth, the oral cavity, which you can see there also labeled. We are saying it is also the mouth, and then we have got the pharynx, which is also given as number 4, and then we have got the larynx, which is also just above the trachea, which is given there, and then the trachea, which is we say that it is on the windpipe. We have got the right bronchus, which connects to the what? To the right lung. The right bronchus connect to the right lung, which is also given there as number 6, and the right lung, which is number 7. And then also the same thing happens with the left bronchus and the left lung. And basically, we have got what? We have the diaphragm, which is the last muscle that we talked about, which we said that it also one of the respiratory muscle that we need to talk about. So this is basically the diagram that you need to look at and that you need to understand. Obviously, these like rings are the ribs. These are the ribs that I guess all of us we can also relate and understand very well that those like rings are the ribs there, which are also involved in terms of the chest cavities, contraction and relaxation when gaseous exchanges to occur. So basically, that is what we are referring to. So let's talk about uh, the functions of the parts that we have identified, the functions of the parts that we have talked about. So the nasal cavity and the mouth are there to they allow air to enter the respiratory system. Air enters the respiratory system through the air cavity, the nasal cavity and the mouth, through the nose mouth, where it is warmed and moistened. Air is warmed and it is also moistened. So therefore it can be usable in the body. And then we have got number two. Number two, we have got the trachea that I said the windpipe is given. I'm sure you saw the windpipe. It is a tube that carries air down to the chest. The trachea is a tube that carries air to the chest. It is strengthened by the cartilage rings to prevent collapse. I'm sure that we can agree that the trachea, it has got the cartilage, it has got the rings. The cartilage rings are shown here. These rings prevent, they prevent it from what? From collapsing. Prevents the trachea from collapsing. So it actually has those the cartilage rings to prevent it from what? From collapsing. And then we have got the bronchi, which we said if it is synco is the bronchus. Synco is the bronchus. And then the trachea divides into the two bronchi, one from each lung, that I also identified for you there to say they are connecting to each of the lungs, left and right. We have got the bronchioles. These are the branch into smaller and smaller tubes called the bronchioles, which carry air deeper into the lungs. They carry air deeper into the lungs. We are going to look at that as well as we go. And then the alveoli, which is alveolus in when it is one tiny air sacs that end. I mean that air sacs at the end of the bronchioles. These are the sites for gaseous exchange. Gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli. So there are tiny air sacs that are found at the end of the bronchioles, and then the lungs located in the chest cavity. Lungs, obviously, we talked about that. They are located in the chest cavity, and the lungs are where the bronchioles and the alveolus are situated. They are found. They are situated, meaning to say that they are found on the lungs or in the lungs actually. They are found in the lungs. So they are protected by the rib cage. The rib cage act to protect the lungs. And then we have got the capillaries, a network of tiny blood vessels that surround the alveoli, facilitating the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. The capillaries are a blood network that actually facilitate what? Exchange or gaseous exchange. So let me quickly just talk about the structural suitability of gaseous exchange system. Air passages is the first one. Number one, air passages. So we have got there are two nostrils. Air from the atmosphere inhaled, it is taken in, air is taken in through the two openings through the two openings in nose called the nostrils. That is first part. We are saying the structural suitability of gaseous exchange. There is air passages provisioned by the two nostrils, which actually allows air to enter in or to pass through and also to go out. Air comes in or air enters, taken in or out. And then we also have two nostril cavities lined with ciliated columnar epithelium with goblet cells. I'm sure this we understand that the nostril cavities, they also have mucus from the goblet cells together with the cilia trap. They help to trap dust and dusty or dirty and sweep it out of the nose. We are saying it mucus from the goblet cells help to ensure that dust is trapped, and that is keeping sure or making sure that dust is kept out or is swept out, and ensuring that the inhaled air is kept clean. So it is actually an air filter. The mucus acts as an air filter, facilitating the cleanliness of the oxygen as it enters. It also, mucus keeps the cavity moist. We remember we said that when air is taken in, it is moisturized. So the mucus also help to keep the cavity moist, as well as ensuring that there is moisturization of the air as it enters. Blood capillaries warm the incoming air. I'm sure that you remember that in respiration, heat is produced. The heat is carried through the blood. So we have got blood capillaries that are found in the nostril cavities. Basically, these nostril cavities or blood capillaries that we are talking about, they also keep incoming air warm, in order also to talk about or to refer to a factor called what we are saying temperature regulation. temperature regulation. That's one thing that we need to talk about. So air must not be cold, but it enters home because of the blood capillaries that are found in the nasal cavities. And then it has got the turbinate bonds to increase the surface for airflow. The airflow is increased because of the turbinate bonds that are found there. So we are talking about the structural suitability of the gaseous exchange system. So from the nasal cavities class, understand these are the characteristics that makes the nasal cavities functionally well for what? For gaseous exchange. And then the trachea is situated in front of the esophagus. Uh, C-shaped cartilages or cartilage rings protect trachea and keep it open, like we said, that it prevent it from collapsing. And then we are saying again, it keep it open for easy movement of air into the lungs. Air must easily move into the lungs, and therefore that is one thing that we are talking about air suitability. The C-shaped cartilages ensure that the air passage is kept open and then allows air to enter. The bronchi or the bronchus, trachea branches into left and right bronchi that enter into the upper lobes of the what of the right and left lungs. What happens there? So one thing that we need to understand is that it is, I mean, held open by C cartilage rings so that it does not collapse again during breathing. We are talking about keeping it what it keeping it opening or opened. That is one thing, and then lined with mucous membrane to keep incoming air moist. uh, there is a mucus that also keeps the incoming air moist, which is also one of the characteristics that we talked about with regards to gaseous exchange. And then the alveoli, the branch end into in a collection of the alveoli air sacs that are sites for gaseous exchange, which we also already mentioned that they are a site. The alveoli are also a site of gaseous exchange. So main alveoli increase the surface area to maximize the gaseous or to maximize gas exchange. Main alveoli, which we say that air sacs, many air sacs main A6 that are there or that are found in the lungs, they also increase or maximize the surface area for gaseous exchange. And then you have thin walls of squamous epithelium cells allowing for easy diffusion of gas. So the easy diffusion of gas we are talking about, the movement or the actual movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide according to their various concentration gradient. So now this is basically regarding to the balancing of carbon dioxide and also carbon dioxide and oxygen. So the tissue fluid keeps the walls of the alveoli moist. We have got the tissue fluid, which is helping to keep the walls of the alveoli moist again for ease dissolving gases. So therefore, we are saying a large blood capillary network surround the alveoli to allow the rapid diffusion of gases and gases between the alveoli and the blood. So blood capillaries, large blood capillary network, they surround the alveoli class to allow or to promote rapid diffusion, rapid movement of gases between the alveoli and also blood. So these are the basic structural similarity, I mean, structural suitability functions that we might not just need to override, but we need to take note of them. So having said that, we need to look at the throat and the lungs as another suitability that we want to look at. So the throat region connects the nasal cavity with the larynx. They connect the throat region with the larynx and then allows entry of gases into the trachea and esophagus. So guys, understand. Let's understand this. Let's understand that there is also the throat and lungs. That is a structural suitability, which actually connect the cavity to the larynx, allowing gases into the trachea and also the esophagus. So the larynx actually we are saying it contains the vocal cords, which some we can refer to as to say they allow sound, and then air passes over the cords and sound is produced. Air passes over the cords and then allowing sound to be produced. We have got the we have got the epiglottis, which is a cartilage structure on top of the larynx or on top of the voice box. It actually closes when food is swallowed, preventing food from entering the trachea and allows only air to pass over into the trachea. So what happens is that it is actually a suitability that prevents choking, that also enables or ensures that there is effective gaseous exchange by allowing only air to pass over into the trachea. And then the lungs, two sponge elastic lungs are surrounded by double pleural membranes. This organ receives oxygen uh, from air to be sent throughout the body. Remember, we said that oxygen is needed and it receives carbon dioxide from body cells to be expelled out. So the lungs also, they also receive carbon dioxide to be what? To be exhaled, to be released out of the body, to be released out of the body. So the pleural fluid acts as a lubricant and help prevent friction during inhalation and exhalation. It is because of the pleural fluid that is lubricating to prevent friction. So this cannot be override. We cannot override and not consider that we have got the pleural fluid uh, that is found within the pleural membrane surrounding the lungs, which also prevent friction and ensures that there is easy movement of air in terms of inhalation and exhalation. The ribs are ribs and muscles involved in breathing. We can name that as for the ribs and muscles involved in breathing. We have got the rib bones on each side of the sternum form a rib cage to protect the lungs from injury. We can talk about the physical injury, which can be a physical injury, or we can talk about a mechanical injury. So basically, what happens there is that the rib cage or the ribs are forming a rib cage that is giving a reinforcement or a supporting structure and function to avoid lungs from physical or mechanical injuries. And then we have got the intercostal muscles. These are muscles found between what the rib bones. They contract and relax during inhalation and also exhalation, altering the volume of air in the chest cavity. They actually contain and control the movement or the capacity and the volume of air that is within the chest cavity. It is controlled by the intercostal muscles during the breathing processes, inhalation and exhalation of air. I'm sure we know that the volumes of the air changes with regards to that. We also have, lastly, the diaphragm that we mentioned. A chest, where it's a sheet of muscle below the lungs. The diaphragm contracts and relaxes during, it actually contracts and relaxes, altering the volume of chest cavity, which is the most important breathing mechanism. So in terms of breathing is controlled, it is regulated also because of the diaphragm, which actually controls the volume. It controls the volume in terms of because due to contraction, due to its contraction and relaxation process, which actually affects the composition or actually the volume of air that is within the chest cavity. So, classy, I'm basically just giving you uh, a good insight towards the human gaseous exchange system because it quite oftentimes you'll find questions that might come which are asking about the gaseous exchange system, asking about the functions, asking about the structural suitability. So these are actually addressed and given with regards to this presentation that we just have now. So thank you very much for your time, and all the best in the upcoming exams, and keep connected so therefore we can do revision and make sure that we are done. Have a beautiful stay. Don't forget to subscribe, share and comment in order for us to interact and engage. All the best. Great Cove already is there waiting for you. I'm sure you are seeing content loading and everything is being done classically and smart. All the best once again. Bye bye.